providing all that advice and support to our teams. And Rob, you're on. So I'm going to ask Michelle to say a couple words and then a brief word of introduction. Michelle, feel free.
Great, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Michelle Hiltz. I'm the Manager of Strategic Initiatives with Edmonton Global. If you're not familiar with Edmonton Global, we're an economic development organization that works on behalf of 14 municipalities in the Edmonton metropolitan region. And really, our focus is twofold. One is bringing foreign direct investment and new businesses to the region, and increasing trade export out of the region. So if this is something that you or someone you know is interested in exploring, please reach out and we would be happy to support. And with that, I very much look forward to seeing as many of you as possible this afternoon in St. Albert at NABI, and for our networking reception that we're going to hold from 3:30 to 5 at Endeavour Brewing Company and Coffee Roasters. So look forward to seeing as many as possible for that. And with that, I'd like to introduce Rob Brown, CEO of KERB, and he's going to kick this morning off. So thank you, and over to you, Rob.
Thank you very much, and just welcome everybody dialing in from the middle of the night in Sydney, Australia. So where it's a little bit warmer than it is in Alberta at the moment. So thank you for your time. Can everybody see my screen?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, so I am the CEO and founder of KERB, which is a smart parking, an international smart parking platform, and that's what I'm going to present to you today. So parking, as we all know, is a huge problem. It doesn't matter where in the world you are. This is a global challenge. This is an industry which is stuck in 20th century thinking, exactly the same place as where the taxi industry was sort of 15 years ago, before an internet-based, mobile-based competitor disruptor called Uber came along. And it's very, very similar sort of very, very similar industries to the taxi industry. It's a problem everywhere, and parking, as we know, has a huge societal impact, negative. This is a very, very significant opportunity. Parking is for cities. If you can get vehicles out of the city or reduce the volumes of vehicles in the city, you can improve all sorts of aspects of mobility. It's also a big opportunity for buildings, especially in a post-COVID world, which are now, with the hybrid work patterns, now finding themselves with half-empty parking sort of garages underneath. And it's an opportunity for drivers. If you can show me more parking places to park, you're going to reduce the amount of time that I take to get to work, and increase productivity. So KERB is essentially two things. We are a platform for drivers. So think about booking.com. I need to find a hotel today in Edmonton or in Calgary. I go on to booking.com and I see all the different options. That's what KERB does for drivers. And then essentially, and we do that in all sorts of different environments, airports, notably Edmonton Airport, which is an investor in KERB, but all sorts of, whether it's hospitals, hotels, all of these places have got places to park, these environments, and they can all list their parking spaces on the platform. And then for landlords or asset owners, car park operators, essentially we are two things. We are an access solution. So you can, through the KERB app, we can open any boom barrier anywhere in the world, or we can open any roller door anywhere in the world. So that's the first thing that we are. We can get drivers into your parking environment with your permission, obviously. And then the second thing we are a software layer that can add all sorts of advantages, efficiencies to an asset owner. So why now? So the parking industry is under huge pressure. They are essentially, after COVID, most car park operators, commercial operators, got a 2-year hole in their accounts where nobody was parking pretty much during COVID. You've got now half-empty parking spaces under towers in office towers in Calgary and in Edmonton, but right across the world. This is not just a Canada phenomenon. And then just in terms of mobility, electric vehicles, the new forms of transportation, but particularly EVs, they're going to be charging not on street, but under buildings under office towers, etc. And then just the smart city movement. This is a very, very significant pillar in most smart city agendas. And in 2021, KERB won Toyota's Global Smart City competition. So the impact of KERB for car park operators, we reduced CapEx, OpEx, by around about 25%. No need to replace those expensive gates. For commercial buildings, we bring parking revenue. We bring data on who's in the car park, and just transparency on which vehicles and which drivers, importantly, are in your building. And then for drivers, as I said, we are, reduce the time to sort of faster commute, more parking options, and productivity increase as a result of that. And then for municipalities, just opening up parking spaces, unlocking parking spaces around transport hubs, etc. So traction and milestones, there's a bit of detail on there. We'll share this deck with you afterwards, but notably, we had a strategic investment of $1 million from Edmonton International Airport in November 2021. We are incorporated in Alberta, and Canada is one of our big growth markets going forward. Financial forecast and key metrics, again, you'll see some sort of detail there. But the key thing to note is that KERB will be break even by October, November this year. And then we are on a very, very strong growth trajectory through this year and going forward. Our business model is essentially B2B. That's where we derive revenue. There are opportunities in the future for B2C, similar to Airbnb, that they charge the guests as well as the host. But today we just charge the B2B side of the business. So we have a clip of the ticket or a SaaS model. Barriers to entry, why can't other people do this? One of the things with KERB is that we are international from day one. We've got a small beachhead on 4 continents. We're originally an Australian company, but now our focus is more sort of Asia, Southeast Asia. Canada in particular is our big growth market going forward. We've got a small foothold in Europe as well. But we can move very fast into new markets. We're low cost to deploy. Costs around about to put a KERB box IoT inside a barrier is about 400 Canadian dollars. If you want a camera with it, add another 500. So you're talking about 1,000 Canadian dollars inside existing parking infrastructure. And that's a very important point, that KERB essentially is a technology layer that leverages somebody else's capital investment. So there's no need to replace boom barriers or ticket machines, etc. We work alongside or inside your existing system. The solution is already built. So our core tech platform is out there in the wild, been working on 4 continents. So it's already tested, even in Alberta winters. It works, down to -40 degrees. And just the brand potential of KERB, the representation of the side of the road, and KERB is how KERB is spelled outside of North America, not the CURB. It's just got huge brand potential. So how are we different to other systems out there? So yes, we do compete with other car parking apps. We also compete. We're a much, much cheaper solution to expensive access solutions. As I said, 1,000 Canadian dollars, you are up and running in one gate, 1,000 per gate. And then we're also an access sort of tap and go competitor to some of the existing solutions out there in the market. And we are a partner to car park operators, commercial parking operators. Investment highlights, just to finish off. As I say, we're global low tech industry parking which is absolutely ripe for disruption. The biggest M&A deal in the US last year was Metropolis. They raised $1.7 billion to buy a car park facilities company. They have built almost the identical solution to KERB. So an IoT sort of access device inside and then a SaaS model, software model. So there's a lot of interest in parking at the moment, especially in North America. As I say, we can move very, very fast. We are looking to raise $4 million at Series A with a valuation of 35 million US post-money, 31 million pre-money. And that is KERB. Thank you very much for listening.
So we invite your questions. Feel free to put them in the chat space or just lift your hand and keep it concise. And got a few minutes, not too many, and then we're going to go on with our next presenter in a few minutes. So any questions for Rob, please? Just wondering what the Alberta traction is here. Is there anything that we can do better in Alberta to get customers, companies lining up to work with you?
Yeah, so in Alberta, we are particularly focused on, we're focused, obviously, we've got staff on the ground, 2 staff on the ground full-time in Edmonton. We will be launching hopefully next month at the Oilers Entertainment Group. We're in deep discussions with Edmonton Expo Center, but the airports are really where we will get sort of, the business will really sort of take off from there. And the airport being the hub, they say, the cities are built around airports, and we see very much the airport as the gateway into a city. So we've got all sorts of opportunities, particularly in Edmonton, but we're in tenders for Calgary Airport, for Vancouver Airport, Fredericton Airport. So we've got all sorts of conversations and things happening on the background. So, but our growth today, if I look at our financials, our 2 key growth markets are Canada and Australia, and Alberta being the center of that growth. So that's sort of where we are in terms of, from a Canada perspective. Really, really excited about the opportunity there.
Great. And thanks to Ameneh Global for helping to support you as well, and many others, I hope. Just wondering
100%.
about the intellectual property. How are you keeping the wolves at bay and protecting your assets?
So in terms of intellectual property, the KERB box IoT device, which sits inside a barrier or is attached to a sort of any roller door, basically can give you access to any building. That is not proprietary technology. Sort of it's built with off-the-shelf, or we built it initially with off-the-shelf components, where the proprietary tech, the magic, if you like, happens at the software level. So we are an internet-based solution. We're cloud-based. And so when I drive into a building and the gate automatically opens, there is a booking that is started in the cloud. So the magic happens at the software level. We use third-party cameras and third-party hardware inside the IoT box. So that's, anybody can potentially copy software, but there's a lot of, there's years of development that has gone into this. We've got 20-odd trademarks, international trademarks around the world, and brand and speed to market are really what are sort of, barriers to entry for new entrants into the market.
Okay, great. Oh, Mark has a question. Feel free to ask, Mark.
So I'm just wondering, how open is your system? So if I put KERB on one of my barrier arms, does that allow other payment options, or do you have a KERB lane and a non-KERB lane for an operator?
It allows other payment. So it basically, we work with any system alongside any system. So if you think about an airport or a hotel, for example, maybe they've got a ski data system in there, etc. We do not interfere at all with the existing system. So you basically, if you've got other payment options, etc., or RFID tap cards, etc. Those all still operate in their own silo. So KERB essentially it'll work anywhere with any system, and we can integrate, particularly with BI systems, CRM systems, etc. So we've got fully developed API endpoints that will plug into pretty much any system.
All right,
Great.
thank you for that.
Thanks, Mark, for the question. Feel free to ask Rob more questions in the chat space. Rob, if you can hang out for a little longer, I know it's late out there, but there may be a few more questions. Feel free to put your votes in the poll. I'm going to end it in about 5 seconds, and then I'm going to share those results. And then feel free to write down the results. I'll also share them after the event with the presenters to give them feedback on how they can improve. And then do connect as well. If you have further advice or suggestions, do write to Rob and offer your support. Okay, here we go. I'm going to end the poll and share the results. And there you go. Should be there just about. Okay, and while you're taking a look at that, I'm going to thank Rob again and Michelle for this first session. That was great. And introduce our chair for our next session, Miriam. If you could just unshare your screen there, Rob, then Miriam can introduce herself and introduce our first speaker for the next session.
Thanks very much, Michael, and thanks for listening, everybody.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you all. My name is Miriam Hejazi. I'm with University of Alberta, collaborating with DiscoveryLab as an advisor. And with that, I have a pleasure to introduce Hagay Levy, co-founder and CEO of Iluria Ltd., which offers a precision medicine platform for behavioral and mental health, starting with ADHD. Michael.
Pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, pleasure to meet you. Let me just share my screen.
Thank you so much, Miriam, for introducing, and great to have you back. Iluria has presented a couple times. Hagay, it's great to see you again. Feel free to share your screen and then kick off as soon as you're ready.
Second. Do you see my screen properly?
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay, so I assume we have like 10 minutes, so I'll try to keep it short and precise. So pleasure to be here again. Thank you for inviting me. As was mentioned, my name is Hagay Levy, co-founder and CEO of Iluria. We are a digital health company developing a precision medicine platform for mental and behavioral health indications. And as it was mentioned, the initial indication we are focusing on is ADHD, attention deficit hyperactive disorder. Actually, at this stage, we're focused on kids and adolescents with ADHD. Looking at the short run, IP-wise, we obviously secure the IP for adults with ADHD and for anxiety and depression. But as of this morning, all of the activity, the pilots, the clinical trials, the hopefully initial commercialization during this year is completely focused on ADHD. And I hope that some of you are familiar with this indication, attention deficit hyperactive disorder, short-term clinical implications of inattention, hyperactivity, impulsivity, some pretty severe short-term financial implications because everything is trial and error based. So a lot of excessive cost and very, very low engagement to the treatment. The specific problem that we decided to focus on is actually the stage that starts the second the initial diagnosis was done. We decided not to interfere at all with the initial diagnosis, basically hearing what physicians asked us to focus on. But the second the patient left the clinic starts technically a never-ending calibration process, which is in a sense completely subjective and trial and error based. And to be even more specific, we decided to focus on. So all of the physicians that we've been working with globally asked us to focus on the initial several years in which the patient was diagnosed. We are trying to onboard the patient to the treatment processes and to the ongoing workflows. And this is super challenging because we cannot really shorten the time to the effective treatment while minimizing the side effects. And as such, the level of care can be enhanced. There are a lot of labor-associated cost. And if I would have to cherry pick one problem, as a father of 4 kids with ADHD, I would again cherry pick the engagement, which is super low, because again, we don't have any data. So our goal is to try and illuminate the ecosystem, and the basic notion is the connected patient notion, which we are deploying for mental health and initially for ADHD, with the basic well-known fact that there is a lot of science well before our clinical trials showing a very strong correlation between effective medical treatment, stimulant and non-stimulant, and changes in physiological markers. We simply took it one step higher in the sense of let's gather ensemble of markers from any smart wearables, and then we basically train the algorithms to analyze the patient versus or off-meds versus on-meds to deliver decision support data feeds to the ecosystem. Again, it's a very short presentation, so I will not take a deep dive into the like an average report, but this is like an average report that we're generating the pilots, so a lot of raw data, and then 2 layers of calculated data, comparison between the impact of different medications or dosages, and then once the medical treatment is set, we are carving out the proxy personal impact of the medication personally on the patient, again, as a proxy for impact. I will skip over the more in-depth analysis. At this stage, we are starting pilots with the providers, but we do have some preliminary, very interesting discussions with pharma, because at the end of the day, the engagement is a crucial factor for them. We've done 3 clinical trials up to now. In Israel and in Italy, we showed that we can mimic the initial baby step that physicians are taking, above 6 ADHD symptoms below. And in the US, we have been working for quite some time with Cincinnati Children's Hospital, and with them, we showed that we can mimic or actually enhance it to, again, portray these proxy personal intraday patterns. I will skip over the data gathering. Obviously, we are looking to gather data and to start clustering patients in ADHD. I will go over the pilots that we are starting, but I will mention that we decided to move in parallel initially in the UK market, because it's a very unified market, and we do have a partnership with one of the associations of the NHS. It definitely might be also relevant for the Canadian market, but again, we just started like initial discussions, but we will surely move on commercially with the UK market, hopefully commercialize the solution by the end of 2024. And we did started some non-medical version of pilots, specifically with special education schools. Again, we are not diagnosing, we are not curing ADHD. I don't know if anyone can cure ADHD, but we don't intend to do so. We are trying to illuminate the current black hole of the manual subjective processes, which relates to the pharma. And basically, this is where we are at this stage. As I mentioned, we've done several trials, and now we're kicking off some pilots with providers, special education. The IP was secured in the US for ADHD, and we're a national phase in other territories, and also for anxiety and depression. And we are starting the initial baby step with young adults. Again, I will not describe it because it's actually a different intended use in a sense. It's basically preventing misusage of stimulants rather than enhancing the low engagement. We established like a 2.5 years roadmap for full-scale commercialization in the US as a medical device, with some pretty important milestones for the non-medical version. And as I mentioned, at this stage, the UK market. All in all, we need to raise $3 million at this round, and we're like halfway through a safe round of 1 million. Up to now, we raised 450, slightly higher than that. On top of that, we do have some non-dilutive funding from the Israeli government, but again, this is only for support. And basically, this is who we are. We're pretty strong on the data side. This is my wife with my co-founder in the company. We have 4 kids. All 4 of them are diagnosed with ADHD, and actually that was the motivation for trying to search for a solution. And yeah, thank you. Basically, this is us.
Thank you, Hagay. We have few minutes for the questions. If anyone would like to ask questions.
If I might, Hagay, have you engaged with any pharmaceutical companies' patient support systems so that you can collect data for them for helping keeping people on drug and they could pay for your trials?
Yes, so I definitely see the pharma ecosystem as the big elephant in the room. And again, not only the manufacturers, actually the distribution arms might be as interesting. We wanted to initially gather data and show them some, I would say, bona fide data in clinical trials. We do have a relationship since like a couple of years ago with the Takeda. At this stage, we're under due diligence by another pharma company from Europe. I don't know if I can disclose their name, but they might participate in the round. But yes, we are definitely looking to collaborate with pharma. If I may simplify it, at the end of the day, I truly think as a parent that the main problem, the biggest problem is the low engagement, the adherence to treatment. And obviously, this is the huge problem for the pharma ecosystem. And as such, we are trying to, at this stage, create a more enhanced relationship with them. Again, not only the manufacturers. We started some discussions with CVS, for example, which makes a lot of sense.
All right, thank you, Hagay.
More questions?
Just wonder if you could unshare your screen for a minute, and just wondering if you've considered complementing your system with markers from, for example, 23andMe. There's probably some genes that are correlated with different types of ADHD even, and that might be also helpful. In fact, you might be able to help provide some additional steerage in terms of the most appropriate treatment based on genetic background. Any thoughts?
Yeah, so the genome issue is a challenging issue in ADHD, at least as of this morning. But we are, at this stage, we are delivering what we call precision medicine in a sense retrospectively, meaning the patient was diagnosed, the patient is using medication X, and we will analyze the current situation. We actually aim to enhance that, again, maybe also with some gene-related data, but as far as the industry sees it, the clustering of the patients might be a big issue. And if you look at the attributes that the discussions are now revolving around are gender-oriented, ethnical origin, obviously comorbid condition, but this is a bit more complicated. So in the next phase, I think we'll take a deep dive into start trying clustering patients and then creative predictions. With respect to the genome, it's still a challenging issue, I would say, scientifically. Again, with relation to the genome, not necessarily with relation to Iluria, the genome element and ADHD.
Great. Jeffrey has a question. Feel free to unmute.
Yes, Hagay, nice to talk to you again. What sort of valuation are you putting on this? You're after 3 million, but what you haven't given us any indication of value,
Right.
and what your projected time to generating your own revenue is.
Yeah, so first of all, with respect to the valuation, in the safe that we are closing, the valuation, it's a safe. So it's a cap of $10 million with a 20% discount. For the latter seed round, it will be 10 million. So this is like the overall valuation for this round, meaning for the seed round with the safe, with the discount, and then the latter part without the discount. With respect to commercialization, so in the US market, it will take time because, as I assume all of you know, it's a super fragmented market, so we're taking it very, very cautiously. With respect to more unified markets, and at this stage, we do have a partnership in the UK. It will hopefully be in the market by the end of 2024. And with respect to the special education schools, so we will be up and ready by mid-year. We're looking at the product, HIPAA, GDPR, been closing the loop with the IT elements. I don't know if we will actually start selling by mid-year because we're just kicking off some pilots with special education schools. So we are aiming, the end of this year or early 2025 to actually generate revenue from the UK as a medical device and the non-medical version, which is the special education landscape.
All right, great. Mark has a question. Who pays for this? Is it the customer?
No, so we don't know, but we're trying to avoid the big temptation of going direct to consumer, and it's a big temptation on doing that. But I simply think it's a different company. So the pharma ecosystem was mentioned. I definitely see the pharma ecosystem as the big elephant in the room. Together with that, at this stage, we are targeting the providers. Again, it depends. Obviously, it varies between the markets. You know, in the US, you have the relevant scores. Again, we don't have time to elaborate on that. And in the UK, it will be, in a sense, the associations, you know, the proxy HMOs, which are established over there. But we don't intend at this stage to go direct to consumer, even though it's a big temptation to do that. Simply launch the solution.
But if you did go to the consumers, I'm sorry, Fred, I jumped in because I wanted to follow up. If you do go down to consumers, once you did it as something that insurance is covered, it really doesn't matter because it's the same thing as going through the HMOs. You're just doing it through the back door. So, I mean, getting the consumers to pay and just getting it onto the reimbursed on Medicaid or on Medicaid, and you're kind of there.
Definitely. Again, it depends on the type of the relationship. I mean, deploying let's refer to it as a B2B2C, even though it's some sort of variation of the B2B2C. It's definitely an option. I think that for us, the important thing is again to work with a certain funnel, and the funnel will be the hospital or the pharma company. I simply think that a pure direct-to-consumer company is different by nature. Even marketing, even budget-wise, it's like $4 of marketing per $1 of R&D, and the overall budget is not directed towards that. Then again, you know, never say never. Obviously, you know, you need to do some calibrations along the way because it's a seed-stage startup. So we are keeping our minds open.
Great. I got one more question from Fred, and then we probably should move on. Keep it brief, please.
Hagay, a big problem that you're looking to solve. That's great. ADHD is a big problem. I wanted to have something cleared. Is this product mostly used to be able to make a clear diagnosis and targeting like medication efficacy?
Yes, to the second part of the question. With respect to the first part, there are many, I'm just quoting physicians. Again, I'm just a father. But if I may quote physicians, there are many attempts to educate us and to tell us how to better diagnose. At the clinic, you can find many technologies, eye tracking, smart helmets, you name it. All of the physicians, I'm talking about dozens of them that we've been working with, told us, please don't educate us. We don't need another tool that will educate us, but we're practically blind. The second the patient of the clinic, and then we're basically losing, we don't have any touch base with them. And then at the end of the day, statistically, they will drop out of the treatment because we can't really provide with an effective analysis and objective analysis. So we decided to completely focus on the treatment monitoring, the treatment analysis phase. This technology can definitely be used for initial diagnosis. Again, it's a different clinical trials. We need different control groups. But at this stage, seed, we decided to stay focused and to go where the physicians asked us to go.
Perfect. Thanks so much. That's great. And Miriam, thanks for introducing our first speaker. If you could introduce our next speaker, that would be great. Thanks so much. And continue the chat. Please continue the conversation.
Thank you, Hagay.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, with that, thank you, Hagay. We go to the second pitch from Ameneh, Madjd, co-founder of D2Type, is developing a mobile app to empower at-risk individual to prevent and reverse type 2 diabetes. Go ahead, Ameneh, please.
Thank you so much for organizing these events and having me. I will share my screen.
Great. And your business partner is here as well today, Hamid.
Yes, Hamid is here. Thank you.
You can see your screen. Perfect. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for your time. I'm happy to be here and introduce D2Type. I'm Ameneh, co-founder of D2Type. Did you know 11.7 million in Canada and 130 million in the US have some form of diabetes? Over $450 billion are annually spent on diabetes management in North America. To our knowledge, no practical diabetes prevention program are currently available in Canada. No people diagnosed with diabetes are referred to attend a class to learn basic diabetes self-management. There is a lack of comprehensive, accessible, and scalable solution in Canada. We together have over 30 years of experience, especially in building a solution that can save lives by managing diabetes. D2Type is built on an extensive foundation. Our solution has been confirmed by clinical study in over 75,000 patients. Our track record of success in diabetes management in clinical setting is impressive, with 94% customer satisfaction rate and 88% engagement rate. And now we are bringing all that experience to D2Type. D2Type offers a personalized health coaching and uses digital tech to monitor lifestyle metrics. With the power of AI, our platform can predict the likelihood of diabetes and give recommendations based on individual needs. To protect our IP, we are working with our IP consultant to assign a patent to our venture and lock and key our trade secret. To make it easy for users to develop healthy habits, we use mobile app. Our mobile app has been designed for users in iOS, Android, and PWA. The global market size for diabetes management is more than $22 billion. We will focus more on North American market, which is more than $10 billion. Our main competitor provides non-comprehensive service, only focusing on some aspect of diabetes management with disruptive, unnecessary intervention to busy life schedule. Our program is designed to keep participants motivated and engaged through regular feedback, interactive lessons, peer groups, and gamification. We stand out by offering personalized solutions that require minimum disruption to busy lifestyle. Our approaches encourage modest lifestyle changes that lead to lasting improvement in health. We also provide a solution in different languages to make it accessible to wider audience. We have two business models. We are partnering with health plan to offer our services to mid to large corporations, allowing at-risk employees to gain self-confidence in managing their condition. In B2G business model, we collaborate with the healthcare system, aiming to implement our services in the healthcare setting. Our revenue model is flexible and designed to cover the need of our user and partner. This includes subscription-based plan, milestone achievement, and enterprise licensing options. For customer acquisition strategy, firstly, we have led pilot trial to showcase the value of a product. We also engage with corporations to improve employee well-being and productivity. Finally, we aim to integrate our services into health benefit and within MSP services. Here are some of our partners who have been active in our journey so far. Regarding the value proposition for participants achieving a moderate weight loss of approximately 5 to 7% of initial body weight, the risk of diabetes can be reduced by 60%. For employers, D2Type offers cost-effective program that increase productivity and reduce healthcare costs with a return on investment in less than 1 year. And for healthcare system is estimated to save $20 billion over 7 years with investment of $150 million. As shown in this slide, we conducted our beta test last year. We have been excited to receive approval and funding from BC Ministry of Health. And now we are running the paid pilot. We will then be ready to launch our feed market product to potential customers. We raised $1.5 million to invest in expanding market reach to insurer and corporation, building partnership to penetrate the market, customizing the product, and implementing cutting-edge AI. For our upcoming milestone, we aim to complete our pilot project with BC Ministry of Health to demonstrate the feasibility and effectiveness of our solution. Concurrently, we commercialize our product with health insurance and other health authorities across Canada. Also, we will focus on entering the US market to ensure a smooth progress. We will conduct our fundraising in 2 phases. The first phase is set for summer, and the second phase will follow at the start of next year. To accelerate D2Type's growth, we have surrounded our management team with highly experienced consultants and diverse and talented team members. Our service had received interest from various stakeholders, including health authority, health insurer, and mid to large companies. Ongoing communication show promising opportunity to accelerate user engagement rapidly in the next 3 years. To summarize, we aim to apply our long-standing experience to the community setting, so every patient around the world can benefit from it before we lose another life. Thank you so much for your attention. I'm happy to answer your question.
Thank you, Ameneh. We have 5 minutes for your question. Please go ahead.
If I might start, please. I know I read through your plan and it says that you have customers with about 300,000 employees at risk. Have you been collecting data on outcomes? Are these people more productive? Are they showing up at work more often? Because you're trying to go with the B2B2C, I'm wondering have you quantified the benefit of an employer to having this available to their employees? I mean, that's the first question that came to mind.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Mark. Actually, although that Ameneh mentioned that we have this experience for more than 30 years, but it is in the clinical setting. Regarding to the financial or economic impact on the employers, actually, we don't have this for our own product, but there is some evidence that is published in Diabetes Care for the U.S. market, because you know that it needs to do for a long period of time that there is a modeling program with American Diabetic Association that based on that, the employers, based on their number of employees, age, and distribution, you can just estimate how much should be the benefit, economic impact of having this program. Although that the modeling that they use, it is only for diabetes prevention. We are focusing on diabetes prevention and managing diabetes. It means that people already being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And the impact should be even more than this, because you know that the economic burden for diabetes, it's really higher for the people already being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, just another question from the crowd. If not, I'm going to ask, could you outline the clinical trial data in support of your device, your product?
Actually, as we explained, we have this experience for more than 75,000 patients in a clinical setting, virtually and in person. We have the data for this group of people that is more than 88% engagement rate for the clinical setting, and more than 94% satisfaction rate. And we have the data, the detailed data about their lifestyle metrics changing, and also regarding to the hemoglobin A1C reduction. But we have around several clinical trials in the different features that affecting diabetes management. And we have our own evidence that is published in prestigious medical journals. It should be including food choices, eating behavior, physical activity, stress and mood, and sleep patterns. There is a generic recommendation that anybody knows, okay, and I should also thank you, Sean, for his advice. We know that there are a lot of people involved with diabetes management, even in the digital platforms. But our differentiation, it is regarding to make it engageable solution that makes modest lifestyle changes leading to big health impact. It means that you know that even at the moment, as far as we know, people already being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes only referred by family physician to attend a few classes to learn what is the lifestyle management. But it is not manageable at this stage. It is necessary to tracking their lifestyle metric and having online solution for this group of people. And we have brought all of our experience to put it in this digital platform to make it scalable.
Great, thank you. Any other questions from anybody?
I have one. Have you considered how the introduction of the Ozempics and Wegovys of this world affect the size of the market you plan on addressing going forward?
It is really good question. You know that at the first point, maybe somebody mentioned, okay, insurers are going to reimburse and don't pay attention to having lifestyle management. But regarding to the new medications and the burden that is increasing, especially during the last 5 years, it is 25% increase in the medication for diabetes. And it is the things that make some concern and consideration, not only for the healthcare system, but also for the health plan providers, and more than this, the employers going to provide this having health benefit package for their employees. Thank you so much.
Great. Any more questions? That's a great story. I'm just wondering a little bit more about how you're going to deal with the competition, your intellectual property strategy. If you can, you don't have to go in the details, but how do you plan to protect your knowledge from all this experience that you bring to the table?
Actually, we have started work with our IP consultant group, and we are going to submit our patent by April. And it is the things that is really important, because our differentiation, it is not some fantasy, the digital features. It is the things regarding to our background to make it translation from lifestyle management, diabetes practice to the digital platform. To make it, you know that there is 3 factors for any digital health intervention. First of all is engagement. The second one is commitment, and the last one is sustainability of this impact. And we have our own data based on our clinical settings, and we have brought the magic things to make it more scalable. And because we are not speaking about something enjoyable for the people, we are going to limit this group of people, but we want it is as a driving license class. We want to make them commitment to manage the major faults, not the minor one, and to make it modest, sustainable lifestyle changes to manage diabetes.
Great. One very quick last question, if I can. What kind of partners or advisors are you looking for today?
Actually, we are looking for strategic investors, especially for the because there is a big market in Canadian market, and we didn't realize we learned that it is better to start with the private sector. But interestingly, our first paid customer is the government, because there is a parliamentary act that started in 2017 for diabetes prevention. But the milestone that they are looking not achieve so far, and there are a big demand for these services. And for that reason, we are looking to make partnership with the digital health platforms that can make partnership with us to make it a scalable solution. And also we are looking for the private health insurers, and we have some communication with them here. And more than this, we are reaching out to some biopharma company, although that they are focusing on selling or producing the new medication, but they are looking for a huge number of patients that they can make trajectory to their medications. And it is the things that we can work in the different aspects or different channels to make it partner.
Great. I'd like to ask Jude to ask her question. We're going to run a little late. I hope that's okay. We've got 2 more talks that are on deck. But these questions are great. So please go ahead, Jude, and unmute.
Yeah, I've heard about a few different emerging technologies for diabetes management.
like smart insulin devices, for example. I'm wondering how your platform, I don't know if there's any potential to integrate those technologies into what you guys do. Yeah.
It is really good question. If we are looking for the digital health ecosystem for managing diabetes, there is the different aspects. We are focusing primarily in diabetes prevention and managing diabetes. There are many, for example, device for the diagnostic part. It is the things that we are looking to make it partnership, because maybe there is some misunderstanding that people assume that anybody being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes need to have the continuous glucose monitoring. But it is no, it is really different in terms of the scientific background. And it is the same that we can make it triage for our patients, and the people that need to have the continuous glucose monitoring, we can make partnership with this industry as well.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds really great. It seems like having the whole ecosystem for diabetes management coming together would really make a huge impact. So I really like the idea.
Thank you so much.
Great. Was there one more question from Mark?
I was just wondering about the defensibility of this, and so I was thinking about, Noom could quite easily come in and make a diabetes sub-platform, and then I was just kind of poking around a little bit, and there's an outfit called Blue Star Diabetes that's managed by WellDoc that seems to have a similar go-to-market strategy to you, which is making it accessible to people through their employers. And so I'm wondering how you fit out there, given the ability of Noom to just come in and do this, and the Blue Star just sitting out there already doing this.
Actually, as I told you, there are many. At the first point, maybe somebody mentioned, okay, the market is saturated, but it is in the reality that including WellDoc is more focusing in the providing a playground that other partners is going to play on this. It is a digital platform that they are introducing and make it partnership to sell the device and any other things. But we are focusing only on lifestyle management. It is easy to say, but very hard for the people to make it a step-by-step changes in their lifestyle. Anybody being diagnosed with type 2 diabetes only referred by family physician or having a generic recommendation. But in the reality, it is really difficult for the people. It is obvious that if people are going to have vigorous physical activity, they can manage diabetes, or even they are not suffering from diabetes. But in the reality, most of these people, especially having a busy lifestyle, involved and having other conditions that they can go to have vigorous physical activity, or even people too far from their ideal weight. It is not a weight loss program. We, as mentioned in our page, we are only focusing on 5 to 7% weight loss. That is enough to make reduction in the diabetes risk more than 60%. It is the things that we are going to make it modest changes and make it and keep it and make sustainable impact to manage diabetes and reduce the burden, in addition to prevent the complication of diabetes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thanks, Miriam, for chairing, and Hamid and
Thank you, guys.
your team for presenting. I think we better move on just to stay sort of on time. And I'd like to ask our next chair, Eng Tran, to introduce himself, if he could, and our next speaker. Are you there?
Hello, can you hear me?
Perfect.
You can hear me? Okay, good. Hi, everyone. My name is Eng. I currently work for BioHubX as a research analyst internship. I was a student in Michael's lab as well, which is why I'm here by Michael's graces. Our next speaker is Kevin Hall. He's the CEO of Emergent Waste Solutions, who is applying an advanced thermolysis system for in the waste management space, converting waste materials into marketable products. So Kevin, anytime you're ready, go ahead.
Room. He was in the room just a minute ago. Kevin Hull, you're there. If you could just unmute, that'd be great. And then just share your screen.
I am attempting to share my screen. You not see it?
Oh, it's coming up now. So thanks for coming in from Vancouver, I think, today, and we can see it perfectly. Go ahead.
Great, pretty close to Vancouver. Anyway, hello everybody. I've been introduced already by I will jump right into this presentation because we have so little time. The obligatory forward-looking statements and disclaimers, you can ask for a copy of this and read those over in detail if they matter to you. Let me quickly say who we are. We are actually a commodities manufacturer with a twist. We use waste streams as our raw material to manufacture our commodities. Essentially everything except metal, glass, and rocks, we convert into activated carbon, carbon black, biochar, biocoal, oil, and biogas. Bottom line, we make waste profitable and we make capitalists into unwitting environmentalists. We use thermolysis. Quickly put, thermolysis is the process of taking carbon-based material into an oxygen-deprived environment and subjecting it to a high temperature. It can't burn, it does not combust, but it does crack at the molecular level and breaks down into a natural gas or biogas, oil products, and carbon products. Our technology has been endorsed by ABB Inc. We are a leading technology in the thermolysis field. We have a simple solution to thermolysis, which is in contrast to the complexity of many efforts to achieve thermolysis. We have an initial plant in operation. This is not a pilot plant. It's not an R&D. This is an actual operating plant. And we are now looking to increase production, take it up to the optimal production. And in this plant, we're using wood waste as a material. This is a revenue model for this plant. It's forward-looking, so realize that. Gross revenue from a plant, this is the smallest one that we will build, and we're looking at approximately $770,000 earnings before income taxes. The potential for this is massive. Now, this slide is showing you what the entire Canadian market, if we processed all of the waste produced in Canada with our technology, this is what it would look like. Obviously, we're not going to process all of the waste, but significantly, you can see the tons of CO2 that can be saved, because when we create the basic product that comes from our technology, from our thermolysis reactors, that product is retaining upwards of 33% of the greenhouse gases and locking them in for as long as a couple of centuries or 1,000 years. This is, again, a revenue model. This is the profit potential for the largest plant that we've engineered. And as you can see, the operating income, bottom line is very high. We are looking at, for each of our plants, especially the larger plants, we're looking at a return on investment potential of between 3 and 5 years. The management team, we have a small management team. We also have an advisory team, both on the business side and the technical side. There's myself, Brian Gusko. He's a joint co-founder of the company, and Dan Becker, who's been in the field for 37 years in engineering, design, and process control systems. And we are now at a point where we have brought in, excuse me, new engineering design, and patents have been filed. We expect the patents to be awarded when the time has run its course. But the focus on this presentation is not on the technical side. It takes a good deal more than 5 minutes to present a technical presentation. The focus here is on the investment opportunity that Emergent Waste Solutions presents. And we are right now in an interim financing round. We have a very lean company regarding shares outstanding. We have a very low annual nut to crack. And our interim financing has been largely spoken for. We are down to approximately 120 to 200,000 of our pre-RTO transaction. And we're looking at a reverse takeover round. We're in discussions with 3 shell companies right now here in Canada. And we have to pick between them and move on to complete that RTO. The 50-cent round with half warrant will be an escrow round. So funds will be protected until the company starts trading. Key reasons to invest in Emergent Waste Solutions and help us get into full production at our existing plant and help us start some other projects. Disruptive, patent pending, proven market and sales. We've already sold product that we've manufactured. We are working at commercial scale, albeit we need the additional financing to ramp up. We have additional plants and partnerships in the pipeline, from Ghana to the Philippines, to Italy, and here in Canada and in the US. We have a commercial plant in operation. We've made sales of biochar. We're anticipating a purchase order in 2 weeks from a consortium in Saskatchewan that's looking to buy a rail car full of biochar. And we have carbon credit offtake agreements in place. Our goal is to be public in Q3 of this year, and we're doing well in terms of that schedule. This is the contact information for you if you want to have a copy of this presentation. If you want to look at some more technical information or market information, if you want to have a chat with me, make note, and you can request this slideshow or a wider range slideshow that will address some of the other aspects of the technology. Now, final comment, I know I'm just a minute over here, but final comment, pyrolysis, as this is often called, and thermolysis have been sort of the holy grail in terms of waste management, and everyone has made an effort to make it happen. We actually have achieved it. So that's a unique side to our pitch. And I will stop and let questions come in if there are any.
Yep, there's some questions here in the chat. We'll start with
Okay.
questions that came in from Mark Husson. Do you plan on operating plants and selling the outputs, or selling plants to others?
We've got 3 business models. The first is that we will outright own a plant and we will market the materials, the commodities. The second business model is where we will do actual sale of a plant. And this is not something we want to do. It will happen in jurisdictions where we cannot control what happens to that plant. And the third model, which is a preferred model, in which we've done with our existing plant, is the joint venture model. So, for example, we have a shovel-ready project in Ghana where we will be taking used mining tires and preventing them from being burned, as people do, to recapture the metals. And we will process those mining tires, reclaim the carbon black that went into them and the steel. We will pass the steel along to the recyclers who are currently burning the tires, so they don't have to do that anymore. And in turn, they will bring tires to us as well. but we have offtake, or pardon me, supply agreements with all of the major mining companies in Ghana. And so we have that taken care of. We have offtake agreements for the light diesel we get from the tires and from the carbon black. So that project is ready to go. But for a Western company to come in and do business in Ghana, there are real tangible roadblocks. So we've partnered with a local team headed up by a doctorate in chemical engineering and a master's in electrical engineering. They've put together a team. We're giving them 50% of the project ownership. And so they've got skin in the game, and they're going to make sure that all government relations, community relations, et cetera, are taken care of to the betterment of the company. That's an example of a joint ventureship. We may do a joint ventureship where we need to secure feedstock, and we're open to that. But in every case, with the exception of that rare occasion where we may have to actually sell a plant, in every other case, we retain the general management of the plant and the upgrade maintenance, and importantly, the marketing of the commodities.
Kevin, thanks very much. There's another question, and if you could just unshare your screen, maybe just walk through the questions in the chat space. There's also one from Aman, for example. Aman, maybe you could also ask your question just very briefly. Aman, are you there?
Yeah, thank you, Michael. So just wondering, Kevin, there's a lot of, thermolysis is well known, and there's a lot of work going on thermolysis. It's energy intensive process. So the challenge is, how do you make it viable or scalable, considering all the problems in terms of energy intensiveness, feedstock variations. So you put together all the waste, and the waste is really, really complex. And thermolysis works differently for different waste. So how do you see it as a challenge overall?
So just before we get into that, Aman, just want to remind people that you are welcome to meet up. There is a colleague of Kevin's that's going to be at the Endeavor Brewing Company today at 3:30 for the reception. And so we can't go too deep in the weeds, but very briefly, feel free to respond to that, Kevin.
Yeah, I'll respond to that. Absolutely, there's a myriad efforts being made to perfect thermolysis. Energy balance is definitely an issue. Our chief engineer has done the energy balance work. Of course, we circulate the synthesized gas created from the waste back through the system to create the heat for the thermolytic process. But more than that, we've also filed patents on a different methodology that frees up the same gas to be an actual commodity that we sell. And in turn, we use a different methodology. I won't go into it right now. We prefer to have people sign an NDA before we go into the details. But yes, we've addressed the energy balance issue, and we will be improving on our current situation. Already our current situation, even with energy it takes to do the thermolysis, we're already profitable. I have a question, any concern with feedstock scarcity, input price? Absolutely, there are concerns about that. The waste streams are massive. They're all over the place. As soon as any particular waste stream creator finds out that we can actually make money for it, then they're going to want to increase the prices. So as part of our strategy, we certainly have locked down already waste streams for each of the projects that we have pending. And that will be our intent going forward. And that's where the joint ventureship model really sees strength. You joint venture with a waste creator, they've got skin in the game, and you can get long-term agreements with them. So the waste side, massive amounts. We don't see an issue with this. But let's look and see, we had another question.
I'll just ask it. It has to do with, it's my question of the make versus sell, operate yourself. Is it cheap? I'm looking at where you're located. How hard is it to get the waste product to your plant in Gibson? And so I'm just wondering, is it cheaper to bring plants to waste streams, or is it cheaper to bring waste streams to plants?
That's a good question. Our plant is actually near Hope, BC. Our head office is in Gibsons, but the plant near Hope, BC. In answer to your question, these plants can be relocated.
Okay.
However, it is best to strategically locate them near a continual supply. For example, we can handle municipal solid waste, garbage. So we would put a plant at the landfill. The waste haulage companies wouldn't change a thing. They still bring it out. We'd have advanced sorting solution for picking out the metal, the glass, the rocks, etc. And we process there. So the waste stream just continues. Same with sewage sludge. We can blend dried sewage sludge with other feedstocks, and that is just going to keep coming. Same with agricultural waste. So we have a project under discussion in Saskatchewan where we're going to have a continual supply of agricultural waste, and we'll have to inventory agricultural waste for those months where we don't see the creation of them. But all of that has been calculated.
Thank you, Kevin.
Kevin, that was great. And you've pitched several times and you get stronger and stronger. Your team is impressive. And again, do meet up with Kevin's colleague, Marina. She's going to be at the Endeavor Brewing Company. In fact, I think she's there now if you want to catch up with her. And I think we better move on just for the sake of time. We have one more session, and that's chaired by Ken. Ken, feel free to introduce yourself and our next speaker.
Hi, Michael. Thank you for the introduction. I'll hopefully this will be quick. I know we're running past our time. I've been working with Michael in DiscoveryLab for the last 4 years or so as an advisor. And my background goes 25 years ago through economic development deal generator as well as IRAP program as an advisor. And I'm pleased to be getting more involved with Michael in DiscoveryLab, including a few colleagues that I have with Kevin McNulty, Robert McGarvey, and Joe Batty. So we're going to help build out the business model, make this even more attractive to investors and startups and advisors. So thank you for allowing me to present Fred Glawischnig of Credit Gurus. I believe you're here, Fred. This Credit Gurus is transforming the credit improvement industry by offering a newly developed online business-to-business software as a solution product. They're seeking $300,000 in Canadian dollars to achieve a few things. MVP status, which is getting their product even further advanced, and securing agreements with the opportunity of bringing on many more clients. And also, Fred is looking for financial recruitment and marketing advice. If I could ask you to put any questions through the chat, and we'll try to move this along quickly. Fred, please go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Our company is CG Technologies, and our platform is called Credit Gurus, Canada's first free online credit improvement service. So the credit improvement industry in Canada is broken. And in response, the regulators are starting to step up to clean up the industry and protect consumers. One of those regulators would be the Office of Superintendent of Bankruptcy that just recently wrote a white paper of their upcoming regulations that we're very excited about. So these new regulations are going to create some regulatory havoc in the current industry. Right now, retail companies and suppliers hungrily compete for customers with subprime credit scores. It's a large growing segment of the Canadian financial services market. And these customers are definitely people that are, we would say, are in a vulnerable sector. So our software protects the clients when doing transactions when they're working with their credit improvement. So our traction to date is we just signed an online loan company that's willing to provide Credit Gurus, our main platform, about 20,000 credit files per month. And we signed another one with another lead generation company for an additional 1,000 clients per month. And in our pipeline, we've got a couple of a subprime bank that is looking to adopt our software, as well as a large automotive group. So Credit Gurus was designed to plug into all of the places where credit is offered. It's our vision in Canada for whenever somebody gets declined for credit to be offered a solution so that they can go from being somebody that walks out the door to somebody that walks back in the door, able to purchase that service in the future. Our market size is the credit improvement market in North America and globally. It's a massive market. And it's one of those sleeper markets that a lot of people don't know about. It's also a very scary market because there hasn't been a lot of regulation on that side, and we're starting to see more and more of it coming. When we started Credit Gurus a couple of years ago, a lot of research went into what was going to be coming in the future. And we knew that the regulatory environment was going to change in 2024. And we're ready to embrace that. And we built the only compliant platform for clients to be able to work with industry, the client, and experts, all while observing the new upcoming regulations. And how do we do that? We have an app that the customer is able to use to approve their credit. So that's our client interface, is what we call our Simplicity Credit Improvement app. All of our platform is automated and supported by a decisioning algorithm. So there's very few humans actually involved in the process. So the decisioning algorithm decides what's going to happen with the customer, what their best path forward is, creates that custom plan for them to engage with. And then we have our business hub, which is where those customers, for instance, maybe needing a cash secured credit card, insolvency services, or even some credit counseling, are able to connect to those services in a predatorily free environment. So why did we build Credit Gurus now? Well, in 2021, we saw a massive change coming up to the consumer credit cycle. Fast forward to today, insolvency is up 23%, consumer price index is through the roof, and Canadians are drowning in debt. And even the IMF is voicing some serious concerns about Canada's housing market. Fortunately, this new white paper that came out in December detailing the upcoming regulations took care of quite a few of our competitors. And I'm glad to say that we're one of the few companies left standing at the end of it all. We are that perfect combination of affordability and compliance. So how do we make money if we're not gonna charge the consumers? Well, let's face it, when we built Credit Gurus, we knew that it's really hard to make a business on somebody that has troubled credit, or if you would, doesn't have a lot of money. So what we did when we built our model was we looked at if a client improves their credit, who benefits the most? Well, first of all, the company that sent them to us, because chances are they were applying for an automotive loan, some type of credit purchase. And when that customer improves their credit, they're now somebody that can purchase that in the future. So big industries are seeing us as a great customer retention, a customer retention tool for future customers that they can build. Because after all, they've already paid for the cost of that customer's acquisition. It only makes sense to keep them in network, working on their credit, so when they are customers that can be sold, that they're able to connect back to that retailer through our platform. And on the other side of our business is the Credit Gurus plan, the Credit Gurus improvement plan, platform that we built is we're able to generate revenue through connections to the experts. Now, what makes our model really exciting is that our software as a subscription model not only appeals to the people that are sending us the clients, but to the experts that want to be on the platform to connect to those clients. One thing that we have, of course, is small businesses can sign up to have Credit Gurus work with their clients for them, basically on our platform. But where the real interest has been lying now is a white label solution to large dealer groups, banks, lenders, and anywhere that credit is offered, because after all, they paid between $300 to $700 to acquire that customer, and they don't want to see them leave. They want to see them working and staying in network and connecting back to the industry. These projections are based upon non-white label revenue. This is just off of the Credit Gurus platform that we built. We're on an exciting revenue growth, and it's based upon us processing high volumes of applications in order to generate revenue. We're estimating to process 26,000 applications this year and scaling upwards to 2028, where we're going to hopefully be closer to 500 million applications processed through our platform every month. We're on a sprint to profitability. We're seeking a $300,000 seed round that we're going to use to complete 5,000 applications through our Credit Gurus platform. Expand our full-time team to 8. We've been running on a very lean model right now, and we want to execute some IRAP grants that we have waiting in the wings, and of course to onboard the new clients that we've already signed. Our team is really lean right now. It's just myself and one of our product development people. His name's Greg Albert, a local university grad, and he's the guy that actually makes the Credit Gurus really work. He's our tech genius. And one thing that we see every day is we get some feedback from our customers that really warms our hearts over at Credit Gurus. We have a lot of people that have worked really hard to, are in a situation where they always felt that they were hopeless. But once they engage with our system, they find out that there are resources and tools that they didn't know existed, and they're able to start going from the darkness to the light very quickly. So we invite any investors to join us on our mission to help improve the lives and credit of millions of Canadians.
Fred, how long have you been in business and how many clients do you have?
Great question. We've been in business for 2 years. We originally started as an R&D project, and we took on a few automotive dealers, just single outfits, small areas, in order for us to get the application volume that we needed to test our platform and our automations and our assumptions. To add today, we have one First Nation finance company in British Columbia that is adopted to our new program. And on the other side, we have one online lender that is also, and one lead aggregation company that will be sending us. So that's a total of 3 clients.
Great. Mark has a question.
Yeah, I'm just curious about this continuing engagement with the customer. How long does it take to fix someone's credit score? So I walk in, my credit's a mess, and I go on Credit Gurus, and it takes me 5 months to get myself back up to where I need to be. Am I really still a customer of that company that I saw 5 months ago, Fred?
Great question, Mark. Yes, you are, especially when we're doing a white label solution for the client, because when we take Credit Gurus and we white label it, it's while they're using our technology, it's their voice that we're speaking with. And even on our lower end customers that don't want to incur the costs of a white label solution, and they just want to subscribe and have Credit Gurus manage those customers receive free credit coaching and as well as exchange data with us every month. And when they do that, it's all for free, and they're able to deal with us for 1 year on a free credit coaching call, 15 minutes every month. And what we do, of course, is we always highlight the source of where they came from so that they understand that they're never going to be charged while using our platform.
Thank you.
Great. I've got a question, unless somebody else does. Actually, I have 2, I'm sorry to say. I noticed that one of your colleagues, Greg is a programmer, just wondering what kind of IP you hold on that code. And secondly, Murray is a U of A grad and was part of your team. Just wondering about your U of A connections, because some of our people here are U of A affiliates. I know USask is also a great place.
Yes, our IP moat is, well, first of all, it starts off with, we're the only company that decided to build technology for the upcoming regulatory change. So fortunately, we've got some time on our side as our IP. We know we're about 2 years ahead of our competitors coming in behind us. On the other side of it is, there's a lot of moving parts in advanced finance, because we deal with people in our credit building is something that's very easy for people to engage with, great for newcomers to Canada that are looking to build up their score. Credit rebuilding, I believe, Mark, you mentioned that you needed to get working on credit, and it's going to take you 6, 8, 9 months. Well, during that time, of course, we're repeatedly touching the customer through our touch points as well as our credit coaching. And last is through our insolvency providers, because we are seeing about 13 to 15% of our applications that are coming in that are people that are required what we call a credit reset, or to shake the Etch-a-Sketch and start over. And one thing that we do is we make sure that they're getting their information from the right end of the horse. We're partnered with a national chain, a national insolvency provider, and our technologies are actually being integrated as we speak.
So Fred, I want to ask a sort of, yeah, this is not a nice question at all. Are you actually improving their credit scores and making them more, are you making them more credit worthy or improving their credit scores?
We're doing both.
You're doing both. Okay, because it's problematic if you're simply putting lipstick on the pig, right?
Correct, Mark. And that is one of the things that we're trying to fix in the industry. You know, it seems to be that there's a lot of this, you know, I hate to use the word charlatanism in the credit improvement industry, but there really does. You know, charging people for information that's readily available on the internet. Those are things that are all provided through our app to our customers for free, including that it's all supported by a lot of strong video messaging. So it makes everything easy to understand. And with a simple click of the button, if they ever have a question, they can instantly engage with one of our credit gurus.
Great. Thanks so much. Are there any remaining questions? I want to thank Ken for chairing, all our chairs, in fact, all our speakers. I learned a lot. There's a lot yet to do, so please do contact each of our speakers. You have their email addresses in the attendee list that I sent out earlier this morning. And